All right, let's talk about one of the most foundational concepts in all of Scripture, the Sabbath. We all kind of think we know what it is, right? A day of rest. But what if that's not the whole picture? What if the way we've always understood it is, well, missing the real point? Today, we're going to dig into the original Hebrew to see if we can uncover a meaning that's way more active and way more communal than you might think.
Okay, so this one's a biggie. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. You've heard it a million times, right? It's one of the 10 commandments. And on the surface, it seems pretty straightforward. Seventh day, you stop working, you rest. And for so many people, this verse right here, it's the absolute cornerstone of their entire practice. But here's where it gets really interesting. The sources we're diving into today make a pretty bold claim. They argue that when that single word, remember, was translated out of the original Hebrew, something vital was lost. A much deeper, more active meaning just got left on the cutting room floor. And it suggests that what we think we know, it might just be scratching the surface.
So let's get into it. The main problem, the one these texts really focus on, is that we've kind of started treating this Sabbath like a pause button. You know, you finish your work week, you hit pause, you rest, you unpause on Sunday. But what if it was never meant to be a pause? What if it was supposed to be something way more dynamic, more alive, more together?
And this really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? On one hand, you have the common view. It's a day to remember, to rest from work. It's personal, it's quiet. But then you look at the Hebraic view that these sources are putting forward, and it's a totally different energy. It's about guarding the day. It's a joyful celebration. It's a commanded gathering. It's active and public, not just private and passive. So you're probably asking, okay, how can you get two completely different vibes from the very same commandment? And the answer really boils down to one thing: translation. The whole argument here is that as the scriptures journeyed from Hebrew into Greek into English, these crucial layers of meaning, you could almost call it the original flavor of the words, just got lost in transit. Okay, so to really grasp this deeper meaning, we can't just look at one verse in isolation. We have to see how the whole idea of the Sabbath actually grew and evolved over time. This wasn't some static rule just dropped out of the sky, you know? It was a concept that was clarified, expanded on, and deepened over generations.
And this timeline is absolutely fascinating when you lay it all out. It starts way back at creation itself. And get this, it's not about Yahweh being tired and needing a break. It's presented as a day of celebration. Then you move forward to the patriarchs, like Abraham, and the focus shifts to keeping an oath. But the real turning point, that's at Sinai. After the whole golden calf fiasco, the sources say new instructions get added on. And by the time Israel's about to enter the Promised Land, the Sabbath has transformed from a personal practice into a full-blown national obligation, a law for everyone.
But wait, why add more rules? Doesn't that just make things harder? Well, the sources give us this incredible analogy to explain it. These added instructions, they were like leg braces. Yeah, they're restrictive, but their purpose isn't to punish, it's to correct. They're there to provide the structure needed to guide the people's walk and get them back in alignment with the covenant they'd made.
All right, this brings us to the real core of the argument, the fun part, really. To unlock that original meaning of the Sabbath, we have to look at a few key Hebrew words that just got kind of flattened out in translation. Getting a handle on these is the key to solving this whole puzzle.
Okay, key number one is the word shamar. Now check this out. When the 10 Commandments are first given in Exodus, the word used is remember. But later, when they're repeated in Deuteronomy, the word changes to shamar. And this isn't just swapping one word for another. Remember is kind of passive, but shamar, that's an active command. It means to guard, to protect, to preserve, like you're building a protective hedge around something precious. The whole instruction shifts from just recalling something to actively defending it.
Next up, Shabbaton. The texts don't just call the Sabbath a day of rest. They call it a Shabbaton. And that's a huge difference. A Shabbaton is a special holiday, a high holy day, a festival. Just that one word completely changes the mood, doesn't it? It goes from a somber duty to a joyful celebration. And building right on top of that idea of celebration is our next term, Mikra HaKodesh. Now, this one is a game changer. The sources point us to Leviticus, where the Sabbath is called a sacred convocation. What does that mean? It's a commanded, set-apart gathering. This is not a suggestion like, hey, you guys should get together if you want. No, it's a direct command to assemble. This reframes the entire day from a private, personal thing into a required public event.
And finally, let's get right down to the root. The word Shabbat itself comes from the Hebrew root Shabbat. And what does Shabbat mean? It means to make an oath. Or, and this is so cool, it can literally mean to seven oneself, to commit yourself by 7 things. So the 7th day isn't just a number, it's linguistically tied to the very act of swearing a covenant oath. The Sabbath becomes this weekly, tangible renewal of that sacred promise.
So, okay, we've got these incredible linguistic keys: Shamar, Shabbaton, Mikra HaKadesh, Shabbat. When you put them all together, what does the Sabbath actually look like now? How does this completely reshape our understanding of the day? Well, first off, it elevates the Sabbath to a whole new level. The sources really stress this point. When you look at the list of all the appointed times, the modium in Leviticus, which one is listed first? The Sabbath. Always. It's not just one of the holy days. It's presented as the foundational holy day upon which all the others are built.
And the prophet Isaiah gives us what is basically a practical roadmap for how to get into this mindset. It's a progression, a series of steps. You start by consciously turning away from doing your own thing, your own pleasure. Then you have to actually call the Sabbath a delight, not a drag. After that, you learn to esteem it, to treat it as something special and set apart. And where does it all lead? It culminates in that final step, gathering together. The whole point, Isaiah says, is to shift from finding pleasure in your own plans to finding pleasure in his.
So, why does any of this matter? Because when you look at it this way, the Sabbath is transformed. It's no longer just a day off. It becomes the sign of the covenant. It's the mark that identifies his people. It's the foundation for the whole calendar of holy days. It becomes a weekly renewal of that covenant oath. And, maybe most importantly, it's a commanded act of worship that you do together. And that really leaves us with a huge question, doesn't it? This whole journey started just by questioning the translation of one single word. So it really makes you think. If this much depth and meaning was hidden right here in a concept we thought we knew so well, what else might be waiting there for us, just beneath the surface of the original texts?